Right, in a separate incident, 6 family members lost their lives when their shack caught fire in Cape Town's SST informal settlement. One person has been hospitalized with serious critical injuries. Newzroom Afrika's Nasipi Same, of course, filing that story. We will take you back to it. Let's now get reaction on this other developing story that we're monitoring here in the city of Johannesburg. Emergency Services spokesperson Radebe on the line with us. A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time. It's a developing story. The details are still not that clear, but Newzroom Afrika has been out there speaking to some of the residents who say that it's not the first time that a fire of this nature has occurred. Talk to us about what may have transpired.
We received a call just before 3 a.m. this morning about the shack on fire at Fleurhof informal settlement. On arrival, there were blazes everywhere, and we started firefighting. And because of the windy conditions, the many shacks were affected. One person had died. He was discovered during search and rescue. And at the moment, disaster management is just arrived on scene to take down numbers of the people that are affected and also assist them with what might be needed for the coming days.
Yeah. On estimate, looking at the nature of the fire, how many of the shacks would you think have been affected at this point?
We can say plus 50, but we are still counting. Would have the right numbers as soon as all the families confirmed where they stayed and how many shacks were honestly affected. But we can say plus 50 at this moment.
And how extensive was this fire? I mean, you say it was exacerbated by the strong winds, but looking at the scale and the impact, what would you say?
It was a big fire. We can confirm that when we arrived, there were blazes everywhere. And we know that shacks are just next to each other, which causes the fire to spread very quickly. And there were no hydrants that are the nearby hydrants that we had. The people used the water, so the pressure was very low. And we had to use hydrants that are further apart. So again, the wind, the fire was blowing in all directions. So it was a difficult fire to extinguish as well.
A difficult fire to extinguish that has resulted in a death. In terms of injuries, what's that looking like? Fortunately,
most people managed to evacuate their houses as soon as they had that the fire had started. We only have one person that had died, and one other person complained of smoke inhalation, but they refused to be taken to hospital.
What do you know and understand to be the cause of this fire? Because we understand that it started with a couple fighting, and that's where the blaze was essentially triggered.
That's the information that we've received from the residents, but we are doing preliminary investigations. We've just finished dumping down just to make sure that the fire does not reignite. We are now doing preliminary investigations just to check where the fire started and what had caused the fire.
In terms of assistance on the ground and the extent of damage, what would you say are some of the very urgent needs for residents who've been affected?
Disaster management will coordinate with other departments like social services and home affairs just to ensure that the people would get the necessities just to carry on for today, and for the kids to be able to have lunch and dinner. Those would be the necessities and things, clothing and things that they would need to toiletries, to bath, clothing for kids and adults. That would be the necessities. If anyone would like to make any donations, they can come and give people what they have.
Very well. Let's perhaps leave it there for now. Of course, Johannesburg Emergency Services, Radebe, giving us an update on what they're dealing with on the ground.